I took a trip to Vegas this past weekend and had a sit down with Chicano rap legend, Bad Boy from Clika One. I wanted to get to know his life story, his trials and tribulations, how his group got together, their first album, and all that old good stuff. But what surprised me is about an hour and a half into the conversation, this man blew my mind. He blew my mind because we got into the conversation of politics and the knowledge this man was kicking. You could tell he's very well educated, and it's very, very rare that I get stunned to where I can't say anything. All I had to do was just sit back, zip my lips, and listen to what he was saying. And I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed sitting down and having the conversation. I hope you see the same thing that I seen in this man when he was really, really passionate about everything he was speaking on and the knowledge that this man obtained over his lifetime. I mean, it really impressed me. So hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. Thank you for watching. Much love and respect.
Same one, yeah, right? That's the one I use, yeah. Everything is the same. Exactly. And I'm talking about everything, everything. You can't miss with this motherfucker. And he's cheap. If you don't want to go to where I went, he's cheap. Because they're from over there. So the play over here is a lot more over there.
I need to go with that. I'm going to do an underground album because nobody knows I really rap underground. I only did like one or two underground songs.
Yeah, I could. My boy, what song is it? The one where you fucked me up at?
I have a song called, it's probably Southside Rhymer because that's the only other one.
You don't have a hook?
Oh no.
You might have had a hook, but.
Oh, there's one I didn't have a hook. I only did 2 hip hop songs. It's like, oh no, that one had a hook. It's like, la.
You're with all the homies at a park?
Yeah, Southside Rhymer.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it was scratchy. Misfit was scratching on the hook.
Yeah.
You
got off. That doesn't sound like you wrote it, carnal. That's how. Well, I'm saying from your.
Because it's a whole different style.
Well, because remember, I don't know you. I just remember hearing you rap about your son. When I heard that, you got all my respects for me because I didn't see you as a Southsider. I saw you as a father who rapped hip hop.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were. Then when I see, you was, I didn't even know the name stood for fuck 'em until somebody said your name. I'm like, that's so fucking dope. I swear to God, I'm like, God damn, he's even creative with the name. There ain't too many that even do that.
Like my baker's dozen is for the 13.
Baker's dozen?
A baker's dozen is 13.
Is it?
It's a loaf of bread at 13 or 13 donuts. When you go to a baker's store or a donut store, so let me get a baker's dozen. They give you 13.
See what I'm saying? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why it's a baker's dozen.
But see
nobody knows what it means.
See how far you go to it? It's like bars.
Yeah.
Bullshitting about raps and shit.
What up, my boy? What's going on?
Man, chilling.
Can you please introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes, sir. I'm Bad Boy from Clika One.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
Man,
I appreciate you.
It's a pleasure you coming to a motherfucker's crib, cousin, and doing your thing, my boy.
It's not every day I get to visit a legend, man. It's not every day, right?
Nah, man. Yeah, man. I appreciate it, man. For real.
How's life been treating you, though?
Good, man. Life's been it's a roller coaster, but we're on the up right now,
Hey, sometimes you just gotta go with the roller coaster, though, right? That's right. All right, man. So I wanted to get to know some of your background and everything, and get to know you, hear the life story. I know a lot of times people do interviews and they want to do all the juicy gossip and everything, but I want to try to approach it a little different. I want to get to know you, want to get to know the person, your journey from, where you grew up and to where it started, and to where it came from the music to who you are now, you know what I'm saying? So,
that's a good way to do it, my boy. I appreciate you doing that too,
trying to be on some grown man stuff now.
Exactly.
All the cheese man and all of that stuff, gotta leave that stuff behind,
Yeah.
So where did it all begin for you, man? Where did you grow up? Where were you born? All that old good stuff.
All right. I was born in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Born in the motherland.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
I lived out there till I was 5. And then I lived out there with my grandma till I was 5, and then from 5 till I was 9, I lived in Cali.
Uh-huh.
With one uncle, another uncle, you know.
Your parents weren't in the picture?
Not mom's was, but she was in and out.
Okay,
So
okay.
I could tell you, I don't remember moving in with her and my stepdad, just us until I was 9.
Oh, dang. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so, you know, I had a great grandmother though. She was mom's, you know.
And then, so you said you were in Mexico until you were 5. You came from 5 to 9.
In
And then
Cali.
you went back?
No,
in Cali you were.
Cali.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
got you.
And then at 9, 10, I moved out to Vegas.
Okay, and you've been here ever since?
Well, I went back for half a year to Moreno Valley.
Okay.
Yeah, I got into some trouble out here, and they sent me out there for some reason.
So they had you bouncing around everywhere.
Yeah. Mom sent me back to live with one of my uncles. Yeah.
And then, so you pretty much, is it safe to say that you grew up here in Vegas? And
yes.
All your adolescence and everything were right here?
I would definitely say that, yeah.
How was it growing up over here?
It was, I would like to say it was just like what you would imagine, because I know you're younger than me, but what you would imagine the 90s to be like, you know?
Yes, sir.
Gang banging was a little more, I won't say, you know, tougher, but it was a little more old school, I guess.
Yeah. And it was kind of no censor back then, bro. People walking down the street getting hit up, jumping out of cars. I remember the 90s a little bit, man. I was born in 85.
Yeah, right before they put that whole, you know, you got to get out and do your work. People
are letting off from the car.
Yeah, but
hey, I would imagine it would be the same because this is a metropolitan area.
Yeah,
right. That's what they call it, the metropolis, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just because it's Vegas, it's a big city, bro. And me traveling, what I've come to know is every big city is pretty much all the same, man. There's just crazy people everywhere.
It don't matter what, man. I always say this. If you were to ask me what city I think is the craziest, I would say Albuquerque. So, and that doesn't mean, you know, it's just my opinion, but everybody has their gangbangers. Every city, I don't care where you. I've been to Pueblo, I've been to Orlando to perform. Everywhere, and every single city has the same shit. It's just a different name, you know. Yeah, I feel that, man. I feel that. I think Albuquerque was just a little more, and I say old school.
Wild West over there. Yeah, that's what I heard.
They don't even have sidewalks, my boy. And it's just a lot more. I hate to say it, and I hope I'm not disrespecting by using this word, but it seems they're a lot more less fortunate, and like the money.
Gutter?
Yes.
Would you say would gutter be a good word?
It's not even the people, but the city itself. To not have sidewalks, that's like, God damn.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I understand.
Yeah.
You mentioned the 90s, bro. Times were different back then, huh? Like you said right now.
Yeah.
In a certain part of the 90s, you could just reach out the window and start blasting and everything. Did you notice the difference from Vegas then till now? Like, you know, like, is there a big difference?
Very different. I've said this before too, but we have what they call hybrid gangs out here. I don't know if they're out there in Cali now, but
you know what? I'm not gonna even lie to you. I've seen it like on the History Channel where they're like a hybrid gang. This and that. I've seen it on YouTube, but explain to me.
Okay, so out here, you know, you got we don't, first and foremost, I think we had norteños in the early 90s, like maybe up to 92, 93, and in the 80s, but there was, I believe, just one gang, which was Sanchucos Chapter 4, but they were norteños, and then they just, that neighborhood had chapters, and one chapter was an actual norteño hood, you know, or they were norteños.
Were they prominent out here?
Say it again?
Were they prominent out here, like really, really big?
They're definitely top 3 gangs that originated here, and so they're probably one of the top 2 biggest for sure. Wow. But and then they disappeared. That chapter just got old because they were old school. So I don't know how that happened. You know, forgive me for not knowing all the history of Vegas, but that was before I got here.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember.
I want you to tell me about Bugsy Siegel. No, I'm just saying.
But yeah, there was I bring that up just about the hybrid. So we never really had norteños here, you know. And first and foremost, I'm not, you know, a South Sider.
Mm-hmm.
But what it is it's mostly what I would say black gangs, because I don't really think there is hybrid uh, Latino gangs. But anyways, they're a mixed breed of Bloods, Crips, and 60s, I believe, and Gersons, and I think so.
So it's one gang with all of these people in
It
it?
seems like all the young homies, instead of getting it with each other, they said, fuck that, let's get some money.
Yeah.
So you got cliques of different neighborhoods from different neighborhoods, and they banging on each other. It's
Wow.
yeah.
So they're probably really huge.
No. There's I believe there's smaller cliques, but and it's more about money, man.
Yeah.
You really don't see gang banging like it was in the '90s here in Vegas no more. But you still have your homies from the '90s that are still, you know, following certain rules. But as far as the new dudes, they're more about their money, my boy. Really more about money out here in Vegas, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That's what they say about the Bay Area and Cali as well, that it's like that.
You know, it's funny you say that. Let me just say something else about that. When I was around 12, 13, I had a genie tail, my boy.
Uh-huh.
I think 90% of everybody I knew that could grow hair like that, you know, we all had genie tails.
A lot of people had them, yeah.
Oh, you guys had them down south too?
Well, some people did. Yeah, when I was growing up, some people had them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, cause yeah, I had one too, and I had one about that long, and then I had the shag too.
Mm-hmm.
But then we heard that it was a thing from up north, and it just wasn't something that we wanted to keep adapting to, you know. So everybody cut it off once that word got down. Not that, you know, there's anything towards the north, because though that's not.
You got to want your own identity, do your own thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's more like what I would say why we did it. You know, we cut it off because we did not want to be like anybody else.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously it was cool because I had it, you know.
Yeah, I only had one because my uncle played that. Like, he would cut my hair and shit, and you know, you get your hair cut for free, and he gave me one, and then not until later they were like, "Man, what you doing with that thing?" And I was like, "What?" They
it's probably the same thing, no? Yeah,
like,
see,
oh, man,
the same thing. That's how it was with me. But you know, same shit, my boy.
Yeah, and the reason why is my family's from all up north in Cali. You know what I'm saying? They're all northerners and shit. So, you know. Hey, so growing up here, did you have any tragic events or anything that led you into the streets? Based on your music, I don't know if you were in the streets. I'm not accusing you of being in the streets. But based on your music and everything, you were in the streets. Was there any tragic events or something happened that, you know, might have forced you into the streets, or maybe your family not being around?
That's exactly what it was. Not having a father around,
mm-hmm.
and having a stepdad that, you know, you don't want to listen to him because he's not your father, you know.
Gotcha.
And you want to rebel against that. So yeah, I was in the streets and just, you know, living in the neighborhood. You get jumped into the neighborhood that you're in, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. I didn't have nobody to make me feel like I didn't have to get in the gang.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely wanted to fit in. I was the oldest child. My sister that came after me was, I think, 10 years younger than me. So there was no connection there for us to hang out. And, you know, I had no cousins out here. Well, I did, but they were all younger. All the older ones stayed back in Cali, and some of them did bang. I got cousins from Westside Verdugo and Happy Homes Chucos, and you know, from but they all stayed out there. And I came out here, and I was really just the lonesome motherfucker that I got into sports. I played soccer from 9, 10, 11 for 3 years. I played soccer, so that's really what I wanted to do, was play soccer. And then I played basketball for 2 years, but and then I got jumped in.
Do you remember the moment that you started like being attracted to the streets? Like what was it?
Okay, so
Because you say you were sports and everything, right?
at
Like what was it that?
so I'm with my wife still, but me and my wife met when we were 9.
Oh
The
dang.
moment I came out here, I met her at school,
Uh-huh.
and I liked her right away, right?
Uh-huh.
So I always wanted to be
Love
with
at
her.
first sight?
Yes, sir.
Love at first sight.
And
There
it's
you
been
go.
31 years.
Yes, sir.
And she always told me, if you get jumped into a gang, I'm not going to be with you. So while we stayed in the same schools, we went to fifth grade, sixth grade, and then for seventh grade, I ended up moving to North Las Vegas, and that's when we kind of lost connection, and that's where I got jumped in.
Okay,
So
okay.
I could tell you that my wife was literally holding me back from being in the gang because I still love my wife, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I knew it was special because obviously we're still together. But
Yes,
yeah,
sir. Yes, sir.
moving to North Las Vegas from East Las Vegas, it's the opposite that where the enemy's at. So it got to the point where they thought that I was coming from the enemy side, and they because me being Mexican, obviously all the homies that I knew were Mexicans. They were from the east side of Vegas. I went to the north side, so the Mexican people from the north side of Vegas thought I was from there. And while I was playing ball with the Negros, that's how I ended up getting jumped into where I'm from, is because of my basketball team having my back when they tried to get at me one time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, it was when I was 12.
It worked itself out.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because I had, it was gonna be beef, you know.
Uh-huh.
And my basketball team was my homies,
Uh-huh.
and they happened to be from a certain neighborhood, so it just worked out pretty crazy.
So when that happens, and you come across your girl again,
yeah,
how was that? Telling her like, did you hide it from her in the beginning?
No, this peep out. She tells me, because her brother is from the neighborhood where I had came from before I moved over there. So she's like, well, you should have just got jumped into this gang.
Yeah.
I don't want to put it out there, but
yeah.
She's like, you got jumped in. Why not just get jumped into a Mexican gang where my brother's from, where my brother...
We could have been all one big family, right?
Yeah. But, it just didn't work out that way. But my neighborhood and that neighborhood get along good, so it's good.
Do you remember how you told her? How did you break it to her?
I believe we were walking down the street and some dudes started looking at me and I banged on them.
Oh, dang. Yeah. What did she say?
She's like, what the fuck? Like, what you doing? And yeah, I think that's how she found out, because I remember that episode. So yeah, I think that's how.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's
but
crazy.
yeah, she really flipped out and didn't like it, but you know what? We had a kid at 14. So I got jumped in at 12, yeah. So by 14 and a half, I had her, she was pregnant. So I always tell people this. I was at Victory Outreach at 16 trying to turn my life around.
Wow, you were ahead of the curve.
Well, I really, having a child, it really does.
Yeah, it makes you grow, bro.
Yeah, because you got a kid now. So, I mean, I was still slanging dope and shit while she was pregnant and after she had the baby, but I did try to get a job, and then thank God.
Well, I was going to ask you that, bro. I don't mean to cut you off, but I kind of do.
Right.
You're 14 years old. How do you support a baby if you're not even legally allowed to get a job?
I got a fake ID.
No, okay.
I went to the swap meet and bought me a fake ID, fake social, and went and got a job at a car wash at 15 years old.
Wow. All right.
Squeaky's Car Wash.
Man, give you props for that, because people get fake IDs to go to the club, and you got a fake ID to become a man, bro. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
How was it being so young, raising a kid, bro?
It was I named my son Angel because I believe he actually saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because he literally did. He took me out of that. He made me dedicate my energy into rap. Because, I mean, fuck. For your mother to send you back to Cali to get you away from problems at 12, I was just going too fast.
Living life in the fast lane. Yeah. So the name you gave him was Angel, which
Angel.
Turned out to be a proper name.
My Angel. Yeah,
turned out to be a proper name.
I got his name blasted when I was 15 on my back. Mi Angelito. So it was just that I used them to get myself right. Actually, to be honest with you, I believe I told the wifey, like, I need to have a baby with you to have something to live for, because I didn't have shit.
What was her reaction when you said that?
That's why we had the baby.
No, really.
I don't think she was ready for it either, but
I mean, I don't think anybody's ready. I wasn't ready. I had my baby at 19, bro.
Nah, my boy. We had to learn the hard way, because she's beautiful. I'm in the rap, so I'm popular. So there was a lot of mistreating each other from not being, responsible to even have a relationship yet. So there was a lot of pain and more on my part from being a dude and being, Bitches Ain't Shit But Hoes and Tricks is the #1 song on the radio.
Yeah.
And you're a rapper, so I did a lot of shit that I really, really regret, but I know I've made it up, and I told her that until my dying day, I'm gonna make sure I make up for all them years that I was a piece of shit to her,
You're gonna keep trying to push forward.
I'll never stop. She deserves that. She didn't leave me when I was doing stupid shit. She didn't leave me when I became this so-called ghetto celebrity. She didn't leave me when, I went to the joint. She didn't leave me for shit. So I can't do anything but make it up to her.
Hell yeah, man. You're a lucky man.
Yeah.
For somebody to stay with you through all of that, thick and thin, and you still have her, you're a lucky man to have a person like that. And this is beyond looks or anything like that. It could be a testament to her personality.
Yep.
You're blessed just in that aspect.
You know what I tell her? That God might have not gave me a father and not gave me a what you would call a traditional mother. She was young also when I think she was 16. So she was one of those mothers that I guess I was a mistake. So there was no real connection there.
Yeah.
But she tried, as much as she could. But unfortunately, it just wasn't her thing until she got older, and by then I was already old enough to take care of myself.
Yeah.
Had a baby, so I didn't really need her to, so I always say that God gave me my wife as a mother, as a father, for everything.
Yeah, that's true, man.
That's
true. You got an incredible person. It's
not
even a woman,
not even a mother,
you got an incredible person.
Just
in your
all
life.
around. She's my father. She's my mother. She's my wife. She's
your
my
everything,
sister.
Right?
She's my best friend. All of that.
It's cliche to say, but she's your everything. That's
I promise
right, man.
you. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So, dang, that kind of took a turn from my questions because in my mind, I'm imagining somebody growing up, but it's like you already grew up, and
Yeah.
So how did the music come along, bro? How did you start getting into music? Not actually rapping, but where did your love for music come from?
Man, I remember the Naughty by Nature. Anything that had to do with anybody rapping about their dad. Because I was so fuck my dad. I blamed everything on my dad,
Yeah.
Which is stupid, but it's common and it's understandable. But I remember Tretch had a verse where he said, "Never knew my dad, motherfuck the fag."
Yeah.
On everything's gonna be all right, all rush, right? So I gravitated towards Tretch and Naughty, and then Pac came out in '94 with All Eyes, Me Against the World, and he was talking about even though we had different daddies and never knew my dad. So I gravitated towards Pac. Anything.
Because it's something you could feel.
Exactly.
Right? It's something that spoke to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anybody who had that type, and when you really think about it, that was everybody, man. Everybody. I can't think of a homeboy who I grew up with that had a father. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know any homies that have fathers. I don't. I really don't. It's sad to say.
I did it. You're right.
And that's very important for us to pay attention to, because, and not to get off subject, but it's designed that way. And that leads us to where we're at now with all this politics shit. But we'll get back to Clika One. And
after these messages,
yes,
we'll be right back.
Yeah, but that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was your early music like? What did you listen to early on? And was it only rap or?
No, I love oldies. I love slow jams. I love fucking Key Sweat. You know, shit, Shy, and oldies.
And if I
all
ever
that shit.
fall
Like
in love.
I always said if I could sing, I would have been a singer instead of a rapper. Cause I'm that.
I feel you on that
yeah,
one. True statement.
I swear to God, yeah.
Those are facts right there.
Yep. I'm the one that was always bumping that love shit. Not necessarily in love, but that
R&B shit speaks different. It's different.
Rhythm
man.
and soul.
It's
yeah.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could I feel like oldies, R&B, and different kind of music. You could say more.
Man.
You could say it with more feeling and everything.
And Mexican music, man. Vicente Fernandez, even Juan Gabriel, Marco Antonio Solis, everything. Anything that was just good music, man, I listened to.
So your family being from Mexico, did they look at you weird when you started getting into rap?
Well, I had 13 aunts and uncles, and 9 of them stayed back in Mexico, and 4 of them came out here. So the ones that came out here, no, because they saw it. Like the first place I lived in was Compton, California. And we were surrounded by rap music. We had some Samoans that lived across the street. We had some Mexicans on this side, and then some Negros on this side. But all you heard was NWA, JJ Fad.
That was the sound of the streets
everything.
Back then.
That's it. So, yeah, I don't think it surprised them. When I went back to Mexico and met my cousins out there, they were the ones that were surprised. But it's funny because when we hit out here, we hit out there. So when I went out there, my cousins already knew who I was without even really knowing that that was me, because either one, they hadn't seen the album cover, because over there it's more pirateria, to where it's just burned CDs type shit. So they would get mixed CDs of Chicano rap, and they heard like that. The most famous Chicano, Clika One song we have is a song called Deadly Sins, and that's where I rap in Spanish, and that motherfucker went everywhere. And in Mexico, all my cousins knew that before I even got there. They knew my verse, but didn't know it was me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
so,
that's crazy.
So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So how did you actually get into rapping? Like you rapping?
So at 14, I started slanging a little bit of crack, and I met a Cuban dude who put me on. Who he used to rap. He was probably about 18.
Okay.
So I was 14, turning 15, and one day he's like, "Hey, you want to go to the studio?" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do some rap on the side and blah blah blah." So I went to the studio with him and saw him.
He was just taking you with him, or he had heard you spit before? So
I met him out of pure coincidence. I moved into these apartments called Crack Alley or the Pine Woods. And so I had some homeboys there, and once they saw that my girl was pregnant, I'm like, man, I need to make some money. So they knew of the dope dealer that sold dope in them apartments, which is Crack Alley, which is known for that, right? So they're like, hey, go holler at this Cuban dude, named Raul. I'll say his name because he's, rest in peace.
Yeah,
but,
rest in peace to the man.
Yeah, so they're like, go holler at him and he'll put you on. So I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, he'll put you on. So I went up there, and sure enough, he put me on. He gave me a couple rocks to start with. I went and doubled them, came back and doubled up with him. And he liked me for being so young and being so, dedicated. Not really because, I want to be this drug dealer. No, because I had to feed my child was coming.
Yeah, you're doing it with a purpose.
And I didn't have no, I wasn't even 15 yet. So I could not get a job. Like it was, eventually I went and got a fake ID, but that was my first move, was to sell dope. And
given the circumstances, you did what you had to do.
Yes, sir. And I did it for about almost a good year. But yeah, he was a rapper. So when he took me to the studio, I fucking fell in love with that shit. When I saw him go in the booth, because a lot of people haven't even never been to a studio. Mm-hmm. So for me to go to a studio at 14 years old,
especially back then, right?
Right. Yeah. And then to see somebody that you look up to, because he's 18, I'm 14, 15. He's my big homie putting me on. So I admired him before the rap. And then when I see him rap, and then not only that, but he was fucking dope. He was Cuban, so he rapped like the East Coast. Mm. So he was in a rap group called I forgot. I'll brain fart. But yeah, he just made me fall in love with it. So I remember when he came out the booth, I'm like, man, I want to do this shit. And he's like, write your rap. And sure enough, I wrote my first rap on my 15th birthday. So that means when I went with him, I was 14. Mm-hmm. So on my 15th birthday, I went to meet my dad for the second time in Chicago. And he asked me what I wanted for my birthday. And I told him I wanted some studio time.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah. So my father paid for my first studio time at a studio called Smooth Sound Productions in Chicago, Illinois. And I had my rap already written. I didn't have the beat. So the dude at the studio did the beat right then and there off of Tupac's Outlaw song on Me Against the World. Because I knew what I wanted the hook to be. So he sampled the hook from that song, used the drums, added to it, and I came home with my first rap.
Damn, that's right. What's up? Pops had money or what? Because I know the studio had to cost money back then, bro.
No, yeah. Pops, he was blessed.
Yeah, I can imagine because even in the early 2000s when I started with the studio, it cost a little bit of money.
And it was a nice studio too. Uh-huh. So yeah, definitely a couple hundred back then.
That's right, and to get your beat made from scratch there,
I don't even know how much he paid, to be honest with you.
Nah, but I know paid a lot, man.
I came home, I know I came home with a beat and my first rap, man.
Yeah. How was it when you made your first track? Like getting in the booth and everything. How did you feel? Were you all like in awe?
Yeah, especially because I was away from everybody, so I didn't have to, show face or feel embarrassed in front of nobody. I believe I might have even kicked my dad out the studio, and it was just me and the engineer, Mm-hmm. So I got to work comfortably and rap,
So how was it, bro? Like, you're with the engineer, but it's your first time being into a studio, and I know how it is. Your first time, you're having problems hearing yourself on the mic.
Let me tell you this,
and it messes up.
So before I got to rap in a studio, at 14, I had my first investors. My homeboy ended up going to prison. Mm-hmm. The one that put me on, right, Raul, the one that actually got me into rapping. He got busted probably 6 months after we were dealing, whatever. So we moved out of them apartments into a house now, and the guy who lived right behind the back of my mom's house, he had a younger brother, so me and the brother became cool, but his older brother was from a car club out here called Elegancia. Mm-hmm. And so my little homeboy went and told his brother, hey, the homie raps. So they ended up having me go to this car club meeting, and I had already been writing raps. So I was rapping, but I wasn't recording. So when this car club heard me rap, they liked it so much that they were supposed to be my first investors for my first so-called album, mm-hmm. which never happened because of some female drama. But so I was already going and even performing in parties.
So you had your raps down.
I already had them down. Okay. In that small period of time, believe it or not, I was already on it.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know if
Hold on. We're missing the big thing.
Okay.
What was your name back then?
It was Tasty Rhymes.
Oh, Tasty Rhymes? All right.
It was Tasty Rhymes. And I got that name from a homeboy that I knew that passed away when I was about 12, 13. Yeah. Okay, his name was Tasty Rhymes. So I took his name, just out out of homage, not out of, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then they went to Evil Mind.
Oh, damn, that's a dope name.
Brother Lynch came out, and you know, Brother Lynch had everybody on that crazy, you know, dark hip hop. So I changed it to Evil Mind, and then, you know, Bad Boy was so. I was this little playboyish type motherfucker with the females, and so then I went from Tasty Rhymes
to
Evil Mind to the Evil Minded Bad Boy.
Okay.
And then to Bad Boy just by itself.
Okay, and then that's where it ended?
That's where it stayed.
That's where it ended.
Yeah.
So, you're in Chicago. You make this song. How did it turn out? It turned out pretty cool?
For a 15-year-old, fuck yeah.
So you come back to the hood. You're showing everybody now?
Everybody loved it.
That's right. Was it a hood anthem? Was it did they used to bang it? Or was it just like, oh, you did good, baby?
No, because to be honest with you, I think something happened to the tape.
Oh, wow.
Either it got stolen or something happened to it. But if you remember...
Somebody liked it a little bit too much, huh?
Yeah.
They took it from you.
What I think happened, because it went like this. But then I started recording here in Vegas right after that. So, no, I think I took off so fast, carnal, because from the moment I came from Cali to record my first song when I was 15, before I turned 16, I was already on Thump Universal's Lowrider Volume 9.
So after Chicago?
Yeah.
How long were you out there in Chicago for?
Just for like a week and a half.
So that was your birthday, right? You saw your
September
dad?
28th.
He sent you back.
I came back to live with Mom's because I just went to visit.
Uh-huh.
And then when I came back, it must have been in the same months where I go to a car show. I mean, not a car show, but a talent show at a car wash.
Yeah.
And I'm rapping by myself. And the homie Brown from Clika, he's there with a rap group that he was from with two negros, which was Bonafide and D-Dub and Kid Brown. His name was Kid Brown, but they were in a rap group, all three of them. And after I got off stage, Brown came up to me and he's like, hey, I'm trying to put this Mexican rap group together. He's like, would you be interested in doing that, you know? Mm-hmm. And I told him, yeah. So we exchanged numbers, and then he told me, you know, let's try to find some more artists to start a group, right? And I had met Romero after I met Brown, maybe a couple months or maybe weeks, I don't remember. I met Romero at a kickback, and we battled.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we actually battled. Me and Brown didn't battle. We were just on a talent show together.
And did you hear Brown? Like, did you hear his lyrics?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Brown was more hip-hop, more, he was in a group with two negros, so his style was different. He was the oldest, you know, very intelligent, very smart, but he was ready to go. He had his mind, you know. I was 16, he was 21, so.
Oh, yeah, he was ready. Yeah.
Big age difference, but, you know. Yeah, I was 16, 15.
Shit, that's a compliment to your skill, though. Somebody older than you.
Yeah.
They recognized you at that age, right? So you're at this backyard boogie.
Yeah, so I'm with, it's funny because Romero's people and my people ended up marrying each other. That's how we ended up at that house party, was the families united with Romero's side of the family and my side of the family, which is crazy. Okay. Because now me and Romero, you know, we got so much family involved that we're practically family, right?
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I
like battled. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
The two families come together.
No, what's crazy is when Brown came to pick me up to go to the studio for the first time, he's like, we're gonna go pick up this dude named Randy. He's like, he used to go to school with me, and I found out he raps, so we're gonna go get him and go to the studio. So right then and there in the car, he picked me up. He had his little 6'4", and I'm like, my boy, I met a dude named Romero. I go, and he's fucking dope, because Romero was 18, so he was 2 years older than me. I think I was 15, because that's what I always, because he always tells me, but I'm only 15, because that's what I told him right after we battled.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, you dope. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm only 15. So I told him.
You're 18.
Yeah, you're 18. Yeah. So he says you'll never forget that. Oh, and I handed him a business card. I had business cards, everything at 15.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it said the evil-minded bad boy controls your destiny.
Wow.
I don't know what the fuck that meant.
It sounded dope though.
Right?
That's poetic
dope.
right
yeah,
there.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said he's like, that's what he remembers from that battle. But I remember, I felt like I got my ass chewed. I felt like he was just, I always looked up to Proper Dose and Kid Frost. But I always thought Proper Dose lyrics were just a little more advanced than Kid Frost's, right? Because he was newer also.
Frank V wasn't no joke,
Frank
man.
V was a monster. So I remember when I heard Romero spit, I looked at Romero like he was the new version of Frank V. Like he was just Frank 2.0, you know?
And then this is a time where there wasn't that many Mexican representation or Latino representation in the game, right?
Nothing.
I mean, you had what? Proper Dose, you had Frost.
Little One,
Little One back then? That in the 90s? This was in the 90s, right?
Yeah, no, I think Little One and Shadow, they were...
Was Mellow Man Ace? From what I remember, it was Frost, Proper Dose, and Mellow Man Ace, probably.
Those were the first ones.
Yeah.
And then after
I thought Little One came later, like in the 2000s maybe.
No. Little One... So, I remember when we went and took our album, we recorded our first album. Oh, so let me go back to when we went to go pick up Randy, that Romero, that Brown used to go to school with. It ended up being Romero. So we were going on a, he didn't know, I didn't know it was the same dude. So when we pulled up to Romero's house, I'm like, oh shit, that's the dude right there. That's where I knew this was supposed to be, because
he walked out the house.
He walked out the house, and I'm like, oh shit.
That's right. So that's the start of the group right there.
What are the odds that I met this motherfucker not that long ago, and I'm telling him like, dude, this dude's got to get in the group.
Yeah.
And then he takes me to go pick him up. It was just meant to be.
It was divine, bro. The sun was shining, the clouds partying, and everything.
That's how I felt. Clika One was when I saw him come out the house. I said, oh man, this shit. It's meant to be.
What did he say when he saw you?
You know what? And this is probably the first time I say it, but he had that right to feel that way. But Romero wasn't really too concerned about joining the group. He knew he was so dope that it's like, all right, I'll try it. But he had that confidence, dude. Like Romero was really the dude, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I caught up to his ass, you know, but I remember him just being like, he was it, you know?
Because listening to your guys' music, bro, there's not really a weak link. No. Everybody does their own thing. Some songs, one might stand out more than the other, but then another person stands out on the next one. You know,
we had a saying in Clika, we would always say, there's only two rappers we fear in this rap game, and they're both in my clique.
That's right.
So that's how I really felt. I did not feel that nobody could lyrically fuck with us, you know? At least that's how we felt, you know?
How many albums did you guys end up making altogether?
We did 3, but only 2 of them got released.
Oh, okay. What happened with the third one?
So it was actually the first one.
Oh, okay.
So after we met, one of my uncles, he was a friendly investor, but he was so he invested in us, but his business went, he had some problems with it. He couldn't invest in it, but he invested a lot of money into it.
It's past the statute of limitations, though. You can go ahead and say it.
Yeah, he was a pusher. So my Theo was and he just spoiled us. There was nothing that we wanted that we couldn't get for like a year.
Yeah.
And it was just a beautiful, beautiful time, my boy. And he took us to Dump Records and got us our first a single deal with Dump Records back in the days. And I remember when we first pressed up our first flyers, he didn't know it was Thump with a P.
Uh-huh.
So he pressed like 5,000 posters up, and they said Thump. That's
Oh
how
man.
paisa he was, my boy.
Hey, good thing you had that money though.
Yes, sir. Yeah. But yeah, so we did 3, but only 2 got released because of some financial. He ended up, he didn't get busted, but he had a run in with another dude, and
Yeah.
it just didn't work out.
Yeah, everybody knows what you mean.
Yeah.
What album was Deadly Sins on?
That was the first album.
Hey.
It was self-titled, Clika One.
Yeah. Would you say that was your biggest album?
Yeah.
That's the one that I think you guys are most known for. That's the one that I know.
That is that song alone is responsible for 50 to 60% of our income in every royalty check I get. Just that song.
Still to this day?
To this day.
Wow.
So if there's a million views a month, 600,000, 550,000 is just that song alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's good, man. It's a classic
yeah.
album. That's how I know who you guys are.
Yeah.
I have a uncle. His name is Gumby. He put me on to your guys' shit. And
shout out to the homie Gumby.
Man, my other uncle David. He loved you guys.
Shout out to David. Yeah.
On that song, you guys had Mexican Mobsters, which was a really, really big song. You had
very
Deadly
first song
Sins.
on the album. Yeah.
Flatline. I remember me and you talking on the phone, and I told you I think Flatline was ahead of its time.
I do too.
And the double syllables and the wordplay.
A lot of people that know hip hop said the same shit, but only those people. It's crazy because, and it's top 7 out of all of our songs, and sometimes in the top 5. So obviously a lot of people like it, but what I think held it back from its potential was I did the beat. I don't know if everybody knows, but Clika One produces all of our beats on the second album.
Oh wow!
Except for one, which was Gangsta Pimpin', which was done by E-Dub from Silent Giant and Pocos Pero Locos. He produced that one, but all of our beats on the second album, we produced the whole thing.
That's
Either
dope.
I did, or Brown did, or Romero did.
That's dope.
But I produced the first song we ever produced was on the first album, and that was the only song that was produced by us, and it was Flatline. So I produced Flatline. But if you listen to it, the beat's off. The snare hits on the wrong note.
I never
But
even
you never noticed it, right? Right.
I was listening to the flows.
Yep. But if you listen
it's like,
to it,
damn, he's getting off, and it's a different. And that's in the 90s.
I did the beat when I was 16, 17 years old.
For that to be that lyrical back in the 90s, bro,
and to
that's
do the
crazy.
Beat,
yeah.
Who the fuck was doing their own? I mean, I know shout out to the homeboy, what's his name, Misfit. But fuck, I've been producing.
I don't think Misfit was producing in the 90s, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how old he is, but
who was it?
You said Misfit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We was doing that in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I believe we were the only ones doing it.
Dang.
I produced for some of Little Rob shit that never made it on his album.
Oh, really?
I produced for Spanish Fly, the artist, not the group, but Menace for San Diego.
Spanish Fly.
I did a couple beats that got on his album.
What made you use a phone tap? Did you use the whole beat or just the same sample or?
Okay, that was the actual whole beat. So peep this. So Brown, we had producers. We had the homie Jerome Stone. We had Jerome Stone, Antonio. We had like 4 or 5 producers. So it wasn't like we needed beats. But when that beat hit and that song hit, we liked it so much that Brown was like, let's just use it. And I remember telling him, fuck that. We're going to get sued. And I remember he told me, he said, if we get sued, bad boy, that's a good thing. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, that means...
You're going to bring more attention to you, yeah.
That's it. So, again, he was the oldest, very smart, and I understood it. And till this day... I say this a lot, but if you go and you Google or YouTube phone tab and you Google Deadly Sins, we have more views than phone tab.
No. Well, it did become a it became a staple, bro.
And to go against somebody like Nas, AZ, and Dr. Dre, that's huge,
That
my
speaks a
boy.
lot. That speaks a lot.
Huge. And it speaks a lot about Dre not fucking with us over the money too.
Yeah, that's true, man.
He's
That's
like,
true.
nah, let the little homies have it, because I'm
That's
sure he
true.
knows.
Throughout that first album, you had scenes from Casino playing and everything.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I didn't really know you guys were from Vegas, bro. I thought you guys were from Cali.
Okay.
And not until I got older, like, what? They're from Vegas? Like, what? Wait, what? And it was a trip to me. Like,
Yeah.
how was it being from Vegas at that time when the Chicano rap was taking off and the Cali rap was taking off? You guys made a name for yourself. How was it?
I remember it's not that we have something against Cali, because it's not really like that, but Cali's looked at like the Mecca of everything, not just not just gangster rap, but gang banging. Everything comes from Cali, so you feel some type of competition towards it more than any other state, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing personal, but that's just it's almost it's like it's a good thing for y'all to be felt that way by us residents of Las Vegas. You guys are the top tier of everything.
No, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm
I know
saying?
what you mean, because what you're referring to is more Los Angeles. I'm not from Los Angeles. I'm from IE, and it's the same. It's the same way you're talking about. It's the same.
It's the same way with us out here, my boy. We feel that LA is looked at, you know. So we thought there was not gonna be no love back. But man, when I tell you that every Chicano rapper embraced us the moment they knew who we were, that we never had an issue with no other rapper but one rapper, and I won't even say his name because we cool now and it's irrelevant. But no rapper has ever disrespected us or talked bad about us, at least that I know. And every fucking rapper, man, just with open arms. I remember we went to a show in Santa Ana. It wasn't even a show where we were performing at. We were just being presented to the crowd by Pocos Pero Locos, just as, hey, this is Clika One. Everybody claps, we go on our way. So just to have them do that for us was fucking dope. So we get there, and when I tell you that there was every Chicano rapper you could think of, I think the headliner was Little Rob. So you had the top tier Chicano rappers, and there wasn't that many. There was probably like 6 or 7, but they were all there. And AC the promoter, you know who he is?
I heard of him.
So we get there, and they give us this little, cool booth, and then AC the promoter comes, introduces himself, and he's like, "You guys ever met Little Rob?" And we were, like, "Nah." He's like, "Well, you guys know that you guys are one of his favorite groups." And,
oh, dang.
Right. So this is how we're getting introduced to
And
Little
what
Rob.
year is this? Maybe early
98.
2000s?
No, this was either 98 or 99. Because it was after our first album came out, and our first album came out in January or June or July. I remember it starts with a J. One of those 3 months. I don't think any of us really remember, because it wasn't through a distributor.
Of what year you said? 96?
Of 98.
Oh, 98. Okay,
yep.
Okay.
So it had to be after 98 of July for sure, or January the earliest. So somewhere there. But so he had already heard our first album. But yeah, man, we went and we met him, and right away he's like, "Y'all want to work together?" We're like, "Fuck yeah!" So he got us down to San Diego, and right away we started working on his music.
This is Natural High Times. Was it out already?
It was right before he went with Upstairs.
Okay.
So right before he took off.
Yeah.
We were working with him. We did 2 songs, I believe, with him, and then he ended up. Him and his manager at the time was his cousin. I won't even say his name because But his cousin asked me to stay there to work on his album. So I stayed there. Brown and Romero came back, and Bobby was there from A Lighter Shade of Brown, matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
So it was me and Bobby staying in the studio working on Little Rob's album. And it never came out because when he ended up going with Upstairs, right before I'm Barely Getting By, that was his first single that I remember he released. Well, right before he went with Upstairs, he went with his album and they heard it and they didn't like it because, and I'll be honest, it wasn't Little Rob. Little Rob, I had him, he was getting away from who Little Rob was with too much influence from Clika One.
He was getting too lyrical? Too hip-hop-ish?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. It makes sense, bro, because I always say this, Little Rob got bars, you just gotta listen. Listen a little different.
I swear. And it's crazy because he said it on Icons on Food's Community.
Uh-huh.
He said that, that they asked him what top 5 and he said us last, so I believe, he saved the best for last.
Yeah.
And we were the only.
I mean, it's a blessing to just
even
be
mentioned,
on this
top 5. Yeah. Like, come on,
So
man.
were you ghostwriting for him, or you just helping in production?
I could tell you, I was helping him.
Like coming up with choruses and stuff like that. Just creativity, right?
Yeah. But as far as ghostwriting a verse from, never.
Yeah.
But helping them, yeah. And
no, I understand that. People vibe and then they come up with shit together.
Definitely hooks and definitely beats.
Yeah.
But
did you guys do any shows back then? Like, did you go on tour or anything, or what was that?
We did shows.
Oh, we gotta talk about that, man. I heard the shows and tours were crazy back then.
The craziest tour was with SPM. We were on this tour, man, and man. Would you imagine the rap life tours, the Lil Wayne's and
because before all his allegations and all of that, it was fucking huge, right?
Man, I'm telling you, tour buses. It was just what you imagine a real tour to be like. That's what he was on.
Yeah.
And he was so cool that he also heard of us.
The first one on Universal, right? That's when he Universal gave him his deal.
Yeah.
And then that's when they started backing him and they started taking off.
Yeah, I think he got like 4.1 as for distribution only. So he owned his own shit. So yeah, he did it the right way, man. And you gotta salute his business, Yeah. But that's as far as it go there,
Yeah.
But
let's steer clear of that other conversation right now.
But
I don't want to go down that road. That's a whole different road. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go there. How was it, bro? Like I imagine you guys going city to city, swap meets.
It was dope as fuck, and it was what you would expect, my boy. And
Rockstar
like
status. Yeah,
I remember I got kicked out. I got kicked out of one of the shows for doing some stupid shit on stage. And I remember he just, they went and told him he was trying, the homies and the little bodyguards and Bash and everybody was trying to get Carlos, because Carlos he'd come and perform, but he was more, worried about the whole venue, because he was the Damon Dash of the shit. So I just remember they came and told him, like, hey, they trying to kick the bad boy out, but he's on stage. And then he found out what I did, and he's just like, man, and he's like, take him to the bus, and so he had it was just cool as fuck, homie. Yeah. I got escorted by some people. He really made me see that lifestyle for a little bit, so I gotta appreciate that. But yeah, it was dope, my boy. It was real life rockstar shit.
How was it like back then having to hustle your CDs and everything? I bet you there was so much money coming in your way, like, because there was physicals back then, right? It was physicals, and you could pull up to a spot wherever you're doing your show.
Here in Vegas,
start hustling.
Here in Vegas, if I ever needed some quick cash to pay whatever, I would grab my backpack, I'd grab some weed, I'd grab some mushrooms, I'd grab my little pistol, I'll grab my CDs and I hit the strip up. And the thing about the strip is every day, if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it's packed. Especially back in those days.
Yeah.
So you would always bump into some new client every day. And we were smart. So I would have my headphones, I would have the CD, and when people would just look at the CD, it was very different than your regular Chicano rap CD.
Uh-huh.
The font was different. Everything was different. Even though it was still Chicano based, it was just different. We definitely knew how to make it pop, right?
Yeah.
So immediately when you would just see a homie walking down, and he could be from Arizona, he could be from Cali, wherever. He could be from New York. As long as it was a Latino looking and you showed it to him and he put the headphones on and he heard, you know, at that time Vegas was a place where millions of suckers, and then he heard me come in with mobbing down the street with a blue rag. It was over, my boy.
Yeah.
It was, here's a 20, keep the change, thank you, and either let me get another one. Or it was so fucking easy to get off that I would come home with $400 to $700 if I needed to. Like, just, it was beautiful.
That's dope. That's dope.
And I'm telling you, it was
kind of had to work for your money back then, huh? You had to go out there.
It was like slanging dope.
Hand to hand. Yeah,
it was like slanging dope, but the dope was your CD. You know.
Yeah.
Then after everybody has it now, and then the bootleggers came, and then it got all bad. But
oh man, yeah,
Chicano
rap, was the war, huh? That was the early war.
Chicano rap's history. If we were just to talk about the history of Chicano rap, you would be so ashamed of it because of how we managed to maneuver our genre's business.
Mm-hmm.
We really, really mismanaged it.
Nobody capitalized heavily on it.
There was people. There was, I believe, 5 main characters that capitalized, but those were the main 5, and I'm sure if you really...
You're talking about record labels or individuals, like High Power and Low Profile and shit like that?
The ones who own those record labels.
Oh, okay.
But...
I'm talking about the actual artists and stuff, like...
No,
they should have capitalized and made their own thing, like you see people doing, making their own imprint and everything.
Unfortunately, the artists that were signed to these record labels didn't make the money that they should have made because they were artists. And thank God that Clika One has never been signed to no record label.
Yeah.
Even though every record label you could think of offered us the deal.
So what happened with Thump early on then?
Well, Thump was a major.
Oh, okay.
So that was we were definitely trying to sign to them.
Yeah.
But it never happened. You got to remember, Thump only signed Don Cisco and Kid Frost, I believe, at that time. You know? So it was hard to get on Thump. And getting a single deal was a blessing because they'll put you on the Lowrider tour immediately.
Heck and that was a thing back in the day.
They'll put you on the Lowrider magazine immediately. So they offered us the deal. When we first went, they didn't give us the deal we wanted. They gave us a single deal. Mm-hmm. When we put the album out, they came to us. And then we turned them down.
Oh, you already hot at that point, right? We had
already everything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Kind of like that.
And I still wanted to do it, though. And Romero and Brown said no. So 2 out of 3, you know.
Yeah.
But I thought the best deal was to go with Thump.
Yeah.
And I still... You know, you never know. It's a what if.
Yeah, it turned out the way it turned out.
Yeah.
Visiting all those cities and doing everything, what do you say, like the city, 1 or 2, maybe top 3 cities that supported homies rapping back then? Like, not even homies, just raza rapping back then.
Well.
Or that scene. Because I hear a lot, like New Mexico.
Yeah, I think every city supported it. But when it came to the shows, like I said, we treated our genre bad because you could be High Powered's clique, or you could be, I don't know, Clika One, or you could be whatever clique you were.
Yeah.
For some reason, it was tension at our shows all the time.
With each other?
No, not necessarily with us. We never had tension with nobody. But with the crowd, it's because our you got to remember, our people, we're actual gangbangers. The rap game is not like that. You have black dudes that rap. Dr. Dre wasn't a gangbanger. Ice Cube wasn't a gangbanger. DJ Yella wasn't a gangbanger. Who else? I'm talking about the Negros, really, MC Hammer. I mean, what other rapper could you think of from the West Coast? They really weren't gangbangers. Like, it was hard to find a gangbanger that was a rapper. I know J.O. Felony was, but he had to go to the East Coast to get a fucking record deal. With Def Jam, because they wouldn't give him one here, you know? But our genre was tension all the time, because you had our people, like I was telling you earlier, we don't dance, we don't clap, we don't Clika One, we don't do that.
Yeah.
You would come out to a show and the whole crowd, but just the girls, which it wasn't even that many at the time, nothing but homies, they just quiet and just looking at you and waiting for you to fuck up so they could try something. Like, that's how it was. And if you didn't fuck up and you was cool and you respected them, and they would respect you, and they would come and ask for autographs. But it wasn't even like that either, because how many motherfucking homies from your neighborhood are gonna go up to somebody from another neighborhood and ask for a fucking autograph? That just ain't happening.
Yeah. Too much pride.
Too much pride. So, and that's what I mean by our genre had to grow into that. And back then it wasn't like that. We couldn't even get on shows because we were considered a threat. Even on black people's shows, they wouldn't bring on.
They didn't want the problems with other people and all of that stuff.
They just looked at it.
I can see that.
We were trouble.
Somebody messing up business, right? Like,
and it's not nobody's fault, because that's the way I like it. That's why I was telling you. The way they saw us was all we were just the cholo problematic motherfuckers. But once we started rapping, it changed everything. And they've never wanted to let us in, because we were always the tough dudes. We were the Mexicans, carnal. I mean, you know, this is how the Mexicans are perceived. We're not perceived as rappers. We're perceived as these motherfuckers that run the joint, or they troublemakers out in the streets, and there's a lot of them. And so when we brought music to them, it took them forever for them to accept us.
Well, what do you think about the modern game now, the modern rap game, as far as raza and stuff like that? They're getting a little bit more love. It's starting to get a little bit more
I remember
commercialized, I guess you would say.
And I hate saying this, but it has to be said in order to make my point. So don't think I'm saying it to sound cool, because it is not. It is to make a point. But when we were rapping, we were the first rappers to use the N-word. Think about that. People kind of saw it. Like, if you go through our YouTube videos from that were loaded up in 2005 and all that shit, you'll still see messages where it says, "I used to bump Clika, but then when Bad Boy got the cornrows," or "I used to bump Clika, but when they started using the N-word," and it's like, I said the N-word in the first album. So what the issue is, what the problem is it the word? And that's really what it was. So now when you see it used now, it seems to me like the more blacker we get, the more they accept us, right? It seems that way.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of is that way, because you have to like something that you relate to, and they didn't relate to the Ben Davis and the Lokes and the Creases, but they relate to what looks more like them. So I understand that. And the way I see it, and this is what I'm always believe, and you cannot change my mind, but we evolve as human beings. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. We're all going to evolve into something that is going to be the one thing that we are all. So if you look at the East, because the East Coast is where everything comes from. You get all the music from the East. You get all the books from the East, all the knowledge from the East. It comes this way. So if you look at the East and you look at the Mexican over there, the Salvadoreño over there, the Guatemalteco, the Dominican, the Cuban, the Puerto Rican, they all talk the same. They all look the same. There's no difference over there. And it's going to be like that over here. One day, we're all going to dress the same and we're all going to speak the same. And another thing that I learned, and this isn't an opinion, the word nigga isn't something that we use because it's a black thing and it's cool to use a black slang word. It's used because it sounds dope. Just like when you say pause or no homo or no diddy, you don't say no diddy because it's a black thing. You say it because it sounds dope.
Yeah, because if it wasn't dope, it would have never caught on.
Plain and simple. So whatever sounds dope is what we're all gonna use. So when you're in the neighborhood and you hear a motherfucker say something, you know, Holmes just doesn't sound good if you're not Latino orientated with the Latino root.
Yeah.
If you ask a black man to say amigo, to them the word migo is like the N-word. They all say, "Oh, that's my migo." Because why? If you hear them say migo, it sounds dope. How do I know that? They got a group name.
Migos. Yeah.
So yeah, that's
right. Are there any new artists that capture your attention nowadays?
Yeah, there's definitely Hazard. My boy. Well, he's not my boy. I've been trying to fuck with him, but you know, I don't know if he don't want to fuck with me or what. But I really fuck with God damn it, what's his name? Westmont.
Loco Greñas.
That motherfucker. Westmont Scheme, and then I fuck with.
Those are two spinners right there. Hazard and Westmont, man. They're both two spinners.
And Roddy Rax.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's dope too.
Roddy Rax is dope.
Really, really dope.
Man, I like. There was somebody else. Oh, the Coyotes, the motherfuckers.
Oh, hard.
Come on, my boy.
Yeah.
You know, those are the hardest working Mexicans in the rap game, period.
They're getting down, man.
In my opinion, they are consistent, they're fucking creative, and they're dope, man.
Why do you think that a Mexican or Latino rapper from the West hasn't blown up yet? I say that with all due respect to what Lefty Gunplay has done. I mean that in music sense, because I believe that Lefty is a personality, and his character has blown up. But I'm talking about music. Personally, don't think he's made it as far as music. His music is not in the clubs, all over the radio. It's not all over the TV. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's making it.
Right.
Now, his personality, for sure, he's a star. He's up there. His interviews do great. But I haven't seen a Latino besides OT. The Mexican OT was dope as hell, and he's on the come up. But why do you think we haven't had that superstar yet?
Okay, so I believe it really, really goes down to who would you say is was our last superstar? Let me ask you that.
King Little G.
Our last superstar? Superstar.
Like
not just West Coast, superstar. Like superstar. All around.
We've never had one besides Cypress Hill, really.
That's right. So, but Kid Frost did tour Europe. He was the actual.
But he wasn't a superstar. Cypress Hill was Kobe, LeBron, Jordan. I would say Kid Frost was more like
Cypress. Kid Frost.
Kid Frost would be
and
more
then everybody
like
else, right?
Hakeem Olajuwon or something.
But
they're
he's second.
Superstars.
But
Shaq is a superstar.
But he's second. So yeah. I would say Shaq and Kobe.
Little Rob was up there too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's say top three.
Summer Nights, I think, is the biggest song that we've ever had, besides anything Cypress Hill done.
I believe you might be right. I don't know, but I believe it would go Cypress, Frost, and then Little Rob. And actually, Baby Bash might.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Baby Bash. Yeah,
Baby Bash might be somewhere. Oh, and I'm wrong. We're wrong. Our biggest superstar that I believe we've ever had by the numbers was Mexican and Puerto Rican, which was 6ix9ine. However you want to see him, he was our superstar besides Cypress Hill,
because Cypress Hill is bigger than him.
Yeah,
Cypress Hill is bigger than him.
But that's because of the genre of
They're
hippies.
Legendary.
Of hippies, right?
Yeah,
They can go to Lollapalooza.
But is Pedro Mexican though?
No, he's Puerto Rican, I believe, or Cuban.
So what? It's Latino though, right? Yeah.
That's how I see it, and he's from the West Coast, you know.
Yeah.
So I see it that way. But you're right. As far as numbers, I would say Cypress Hill has more fans. But as far as #1 hits, 6ix9ine went 10 or 11 straight #1 hits. Never heard of.
But also with me, I believe, and this is, it's not taking a stab at him, but it was also his antics that got him there. Like, you're not gonna listen. Like, I don't hear nobody bumping 6ix9ine now.
But isn't that
like, even though SPM,
no,
his problems or whatever he has,
right.
and he is what he is, what he did, right?
Okay.
But I still hear a lot of people bumping him. I don't hear nobody bumping 6ix9ine
by the numbers
at all.
6ix9ine still streams more than.
But it wasn't his music. That's what I'm saying. Like Lefty Gunplay, it's not. It wasn't. I mean, 6ix9ine. It's not really his music. It was his antics.
I think
he was
just
both. All over doing crazy shit.
And I hated 6ix9ine. I have never fucking liked 6ix9ine. But the honest truth is, he had 10 or 11 straight #1s.
Yes, I agree.
And he was also his antics. So was
part. But yes, the last superstar. Let's say that. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Because his music did go.
He
went platinum and platinum and platinum.
Nicki Minaj, his last hit, I think, was with Nicki, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So again, I never listened to none of his shit. I never liked him. I thought he was a weirdo.
I will concur with that, yeah.
But the reason I say who was our last superstar was because you asked me about Lefty, and the way I see it is,
they're not on the same level.
They're not This is what I say. You have to. A star has 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Well, I believe every one of those points is a quality that you have to have. Now, a lot of people say Lefty has, charisma. I don't think he has charisma. I think he has a character. Would I want to be charismatic like him? No, because that's not charisma to me. Charisma is, I would even say Baby Bash was more charismatic.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
What you mean.
Like Lefty Gunplay's characters. It's more
charisma is more smooth, more I know.
Lefty can't really sit in front of the camera. He's got a lot of energy, and he's all over the place. You can ask him a question, and he's already thinking about something else. And
like Jay-Z has charisma.
No,
he's calm. He's calm. He knows how to talk. He knows how to answer a question correctly. He knows how to keep you interested. I think I'm just going off of what you're saying. If you have Lefty in a conversation,
right?
He's gonna say something crazy, and that's gonna be the title of the YouTube.
I think charismatic would be more somebody that can get along with anybody, and can sit there and have a conversation with a grandmother, and sit there and make a little kid like him, and the dogs like him, like just very positive.
Yeah, I agree with that. Right? I agree with that. That's a fair assessment.
And I don't think that's the character that Lefty has. But I say that to say this: you got to have the characteristics of a star. One would be charismatic, then the other one would be the look. You have to be marketable. Now, if you look at, I always said that Clika One was the first beginnings of the transformation of Chicano rap.
Mm-hmm.
By the way we dressed, I used to wear Chucks and Dickies, but I went from Chucks and Dickies to Jordans and Levi's hella quick, right? And I evolved with the raps, with the styles, but I believe when King Little G came along, he definitely took it to a different level, because he was your Southsider from wherever he's from, and he didn't look that.
Yeah.
He was a little different in his style. And I don't think he's that charismatic. He's very quiet, which is cool, you know. That's salute to the homie for everything he's
I
accomplished.
know what you mean. Now.
You know?
Yeah.
So it has to have all those points. And I don't think any of us have had those points, but somebody like back to 6ix9ine. You look at his interviews on say Power 106 on the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
He can sit there and have a logical, intelligent conversation with DJ Envy, with the female, and protect himself from Charlemagne's antics and insults. He defended himself properly,
right? And it kind of makes you think, like, why you act so stupid when you're out there on the streets?
And then you act so intelligent and protect yourself against somebody like Charlemagne.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, he was, and we haven't had that, my boy. You know, Baby Bash is another person that had the look. He had the talent, but he also wasn't that charismatic as he was very marketable, you know.
Yeah.
Green-eyed, looked almost like a white dude.
Yeah.
I think he's half white, but
so Baby Bash has it.
It bothered the F out of me because when I saw, you know, he was #1 on TRL, right?
Mm-hmm.
The #1 song on TRL was Baby Bash, and that is what you call.
And it was not only one, because I'm not sure about the Cyclone song too, because there was the Sugar Sugar with him and Frankie J.
Then he had,
and it was the
Akon,
Cyclone.
And he had Akon's Don't Look No Further.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Come on, my boy. The motherfucker had hit after hit.
Yeah.
He had 3 straight hits.
Yeah.
That is
mega
hits.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very hard to accomplish. But what bothered me, and it bothers me because I know Bash. I mean, I literally grew up with him since 1998, 99 with Frost, right?
Yeah.
So we slept on the same Frost's house. It just, I knew what he was capable of. But it seemed to me like once he got to the motherfucking top, he kind of stopped worrying about his pen. And I know how dope he was, that I would always say, Bash isn't going to make me feel like extra proud. Not that that's my brother, you know, we still talk, we have each other's numbers, that is my brother. But I always wanted somebody to call him to have him on their album.
Yeah.
Because you're the good looking, half white, half Mexican. You are the poster boy of music. Why doesn't Puff Daddy have you on one of his hits? Why doesn't, you know...
And he was big enough too.
He was...
To, how do you say?
It made no sense to me. Because if I was Puff Daddy...
that call, yeah.
My boy, everybody should have been coming to Baby Bash to make them... Because you're Latino.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand, and the reason I believe that call was never made, which does not make sense, was because it's the old enchilada, and he was just it seemed like he was freestyling his verses on his biggest hits, and that kind of let me down because I know he picked the beat, I know he wrote the hook. It wasn't like, you know, they came in. No, this was Bash. Bash is a fucking songwriter, homie. He's written songs for people you have no idea he's written for. And so it bothered me because I wanted him to push his pen more so they can respect him not only as a hit maker, because there's a difference between a hit maker and a lyricist.
Yeah.
And he could have been both at the same time.
Yeah.
And he chose to put the lyricist shit down because I get it. The more you dumb it down, the better chance you have of making a hit.
For sure.
But he could have had that balance to become somebody like a Jay-Z.
How do you feel about that thin line between lyricist and hitmaker?
I believe that we all have the ability to be a lyricist and create hits, but we have to find our. It's like the formula. Every single artist has to look for a formula to make a hit, because or unless you just don't make sense in the atmosphere of what popular music or pop music is. But I think almost anything can enter that realm if you use the right formulas. But it is so fucking hard to find that formula, and I believe I found a formula for so many of us to use, and I'm gonna share it right now because now that we're talking about it, I believe it is very necessary for me to say it. But I believe one of the formulas is humor and bars. If you mix those two things and you put it in front of people's faces and you're funny and intelligent, the odds of you being accepted are so, for instance, the Coyotes. Look at every one of their videos.
Bro, that song that they have with Shaq, oh my God, that's a banger.
You see the video though?
Hell yeah.
Because that's the way the music is presented these days. We don't have music presented through a CD. You don't go and pick up a magazine to see whose album's coming out anymore. Everything is visual. So the visual is more important than the music now. And the way they're doing it is so fucking creative, and I believe that's the formula. And they seem to have gravitated to it because obviously it's the right one of the right ones and one of the most easiest ones. Because you look at Eminem, if Eminem would have came with "I'm sorry, mama, I never met," a lot of people might have been like,
down the words in the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're
so
right.
What did he do? "Hi kids, do you like violence? Do you want to see me stick 9-inch nails to each one of my eyelids?" And he's getting his dick sucked by a fake Monica Lewinsky, and he's playing. Come on, my boy, you can't go wrong with that.
But would you say he had to sell out to do that?
That's not, to me, that's not selling out, because that's being funny and that's being lyrical.
Remember, because if you listen to Infinite, it was nothing like that. I mean, it was, but it wasn't.
I heard Infinite one time and never heard it again. The last Eminem album I bumped was the first one, because the moment he disrespected his mother on the second one, I stopped respecting him as a man. And I need to respect you as a man before I listen to your music.
Got you.
And when he apologized to his mother on, I think, Relapse or one
of Marshall Mathers LP 2.
I think so. Yeah. Where he apologized to his mother, because I listened to all of his albums one time just to hear it all through. When I heard that, I said, okay, this man has grown up.
That was a dope ass song.
Man, and then
I think we took it too far.
When he taught, and then the last verse, I believe he attacks his dad, and he's like, wait a minute, it wasn't just my mother's fault.
It's called Headlights, right?
It's called Headlights. And then the Music to Murder By, have you heard that one?
I haven't heard that one.
My boy, if you want to hear Eminem like the first two, go listen to that one.
Who's your favorite artist of all time?
Tupac.
All right, that's right. That's right.
But favorite lyricist of all time, I would probably have to say Cannabis.
Okay.
And then
rest in peace, Chino XL, man. Chino XL just passed away, bro.
Man. And you know what? I stayed away from him when he dissed Pac and he said he got raped. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't think I've ever heard a Chino XL song besides this #1 selling song that he's ever had.
Yeah. I didn't even really like the East Coast either because of the whole Pac thing.
Me neither. Yep.
Then I got into it when I got a little older. Chino XL was one that I got into, bro.
That's where I was at.
Dope. Pretty
dope. Unfortunately, I never went back to Chino because, of course, I'm a Pac fan. But Cannabis was just...
Oh, he broke my heart. That I rap in a different voice. Because of Cannabis and Exhibit. I wanted to be like them so bad when I was young. And
Cannabis?
Because I heard their voice. There was a freestyle that he had. He was like a nuclear warhead, and right now you're provoking my detonation. Never enter the premises without proper authorization. And his voice, how it was raspy, I said, oh man, I gotta do it like that. And that was the exact rhyme that made me start rapping.
Cannabis
Cannabis.
Yeah. Man, I remember when Can I Bust, the first album came out. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you.
Second round knockout.
Man, just the whole album from beginning to end. From American Patriot to, what's the name? The British song. I forgot what it's called. But from beginning to end, I could listen to it. Except for the last song was the only song I didn't like, so thank God it was the last song. But man, when I heard that man spit, I just thought, oh, and then the shit he was talking about, the conspiracy shit, the Channel Zero song, the song he dedicated to his mother. It was like an all well around album where he gave you a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
So I really looked at him like he was just cheating, like the CIA might have been writing his rhymes. Like I thought he was, I really thought he was that ahead of everybody else.
He was ahead of his time.
Yes,
bro.
he was.
Do you remember 2000 BC?
Yeah, that was the last album I listened to.
That was hard, bro.
Then it got to the point where he was too much that everything was too intelligent, and it got to the point where it became artificial.
Or 100 bars went too much after that.
It was just too much. It wasn't as a wow factor anymore. And that sucks because that's one artist who will probably never be able to reach his height other than when he first came out by shocking the world of how more intelligent he was.
Yes.
Because you keep being intelligent and that's all you are. It gets to the point where, first of all, I don't even understand half the words you're saying, and then it's just not hip hop anymore.
But it's not. I think when he pulled out the battle, though, like the battle that disappointed me, bro.
With Disaster?
Yeah, when he pulled out the fucking,
you know what,
the pen and pad, I was like, oh
no.
man,
I look at him so much.
It was over for me. I haven't listened to it.
Hold on, let me tell you what I felt like about that. This is how much I admire him, because even though I haven't listened to none of his fucking albums, because they're all the same thing, talking about the same thing, just with a different beat, because you can't talk about anything else. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So I really stopped listening to him, but I still held him up here.
Uh-huh.
And when I saw that, till this day, I would tell you that was set up as a way to make battle rap bigger.
Oh.
Not even, and I've thought about that.
Cassidy's killing that shit though too in battle rap. Cassidy is.
See, and Cassidy is what I would say more dangerous than even Cannabis would be battle rapping, because even though Cannabis's intelligence is higher than Cassidy's all around talent beats intelligence. So in other words, a 5-point star, you gotta have intelligence.
I think Cassidy's swag,
everything
is more than Cannabis, because Cannabis had lyrical shit that makes you think, but and Cassidy has the same ability, but he just has more swag.
Disaster, my boy.
Yeah.
To beat Disaster,
he said, "I triple dog dare you. I triple double dog dare you." Whatever the hell he said, I was like, "That's not even a bar," and it made me laugh. Like, damn.
It's just, and like you said, that bar right there was one of his best bars, and it wasn't even, it's how he said it,
exactly,
when he said
in
it,
his face,
in what round he said it,
yes,
all
sir.
of that,
yes,
and that's what makes you.
If we were in my studio, I said, let's give Cassidy an applause
right there. Right? And I got the ProMaster Pro, or what is it, the right there too. I was gonna tell you, wanted to look at, yeah, but no, you're right. That's Cassidy. And so who would you say is a more powerful battle rapper, Cannabis or Cassidy? Cassidy, hands down. You know, so yeah, when he fumbled and pulled out his pad, I thought it was so fucking sad that till this day I will tell myself that was a setup.
I don't know. I think you're reaching, but I
might be, but that's how much I respect him.
That's like watching one of your heroes. Bro, I wrote my first song
to
second round knockout.
That not only am I reaching, but I'm probably lying to myself.
Yeah.
That's how much I respect the man, but that's how bad it was.
I had the same respect for him because, like I said, I wrote my first song to second round knockout.
That's crazy.
I didn't want him to lose the battle against LL. Like, I wanted LL. And, you know, LL's dope. He's a legend, but Cannabis, I like Cannabis so much. But when he pulled that out, bro, it was over. I don't think I've listened. I think I listened to Till November like a few times since then. But other than that, I haven't listened to Cannabis.
You heard him on that song I showed you?
What?
On the song?
Like the sample?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the hook? Yeah. I had to put him on there, you know?
Does it mess up his ranking of all time? The whole battle thing?
Well,
as far as spitters. Because Cannabis would... Chicano rap or regular hip-hop might not know. Might not understand. But Cannabis was the mantle, the rap god to underground rappers and MCs
everywhere.
at one point.
And
but you have to know the crowd to... Right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let me tell you. This is what came to my mind when you asked me, does it mess up his position? If we had never heard no rapper ever rap before, and we got the top 30 of them, and they all spit their favorite rap, I believe Cannabis would still come out number one. If that's the case. Not with any other thing added to it.
Yeah.
If that's the case, just one rap, top 30 lyricists that you think of all time, and you say you got one rap to show who the best is. You've never heard hip-hop before in your life, I still believe Cannabis would still shock everyone more than anybody.
In between albums, I become a masked man like Batman and stalk my own rap fans.
He said, I jump into the backseat of a cab and rhyme till the meter says 999. He said, I battle any type of MC at any time. With more lines than a million pair of Adidas, more lines than a Bible quoted from Jesus, more lines than an African herd of zebras.
Yeah, that's on 100 bars.
With the Cannabis sativa. No, that's on well, I roll with the wildest niggas, unemployed, jobless niggas.
Hostile, wild, chemically imbalanced. Yeah.
Whatever song that is.
You probably didn't even know that about FKM. Come on,
but I can tell by the way you rap, my boy. You remember, I got at you when you dropped your kid's song. I come on, my boy. That shit had me so proud of Chicano rap because I didn't see you as a Southsider because I had never seen no other music of yours before but that song. Yeah. And if I'm correct on that song, you weren't dressed like a cholo, were you?
No, I had a tracksuit on.
And you had your kid with you.
Yeah.
And you were in the park and then you were in the house, I believe.
Yeah.
All I saw was it's like Tupac's Dear Mama in the version of
rap. Chicano rap.
Not even Chicano rap, just rap.
Mexican?
Not even Mexican. I saw it like you
just
were
rap. That's right.
Talking about your son.
That's right.
And when I saw that you were Mexican, I immediately got my phone and I hit you on Instagram or Facebook and I said, my boy, whoever you are, I salute you, and we became friends from that. So it was the thought, because if you think about what other black, white, Mexican, whatever, has ever made a song about their son that was so dope like that was. You haven't. Tupac was the first and only person to have a #1 song talking about his mother other than Eminem, but Eminem was burying his mother and she was a pill popper.
Was picking her up.
And Tupac's mother was a crackhead and he was putting her on a pedestal. Totally different. And that's what makes Pac, Eminem.
Yeah.
But to have you do it for your son, homie, that is what hip hop is. It's an emotion. It's an emotion of toughness, an emotion of sadness, an emotion of shock, an emotion of, it's an emotion. And you rocked me with that one. I'm like, God.
That's right, man. Like Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Hey, before we run out of time, I want to switch gears with you.
Okay.
I be peeping you out from time to time.
All right.
And this Trump thing got you really going crazy, man. It really got you in your feelings and stuff. So I want to know first and foremost, I want to say this. When Trump took office, I was really, really hopeful that he was going to do something for the economy. Besides all his antics and everything else, I thought he was going to come in here, change our economy, start bringing work, and really, really up, because we were going down bad. I mean, we are now even more.
Okay, go ahead.
He started with this crazy shit, bro. Like, it's like, I even saw yesterday that he said, like, if I think it was the South Africans, if they want to come over here, that he's going to help them get their papers and everything expedited, like Bro, why don't you do that for the Mexicans that are trying to come over here?
You want me to answer that?
So I want you to tell me how you feel about the whole, because I want you to vent right now.
Okay, so
what is it about Trump that you hate and dislike?
I'm a vent. I'm gonna just say everything I gotta say about this, because I know your channel reaches a demographics that I believe is very key to us being not only significant, but maybe even alive in the United States of America. It is that serious what Trump is trying to do with America. That when you put, just for one thing, when you put the cartel under the terrorist list, any person that's associated with the cartels of Mexico immediately become terrorists.
Damn.
By law, look it up if you don't believe me. Well, guess who that is? I'm not going to say no names. Let's just call them the Ku Klux Klan.
Mm-hmm.
If they're dealing dope to the Ku Klux Klan, and the Ku Klux Klan is dealing dope to the people in the ghettos, the Ku Klux Klan is going to be considered terrorist of America.
Wow.
Now, you don't think they know this? You think they're stupid and they don't know that that's how the things work? They know this. We're just not paying attention to what the future is going to hold. I always try to tell myself that this life is a game of chess, and we have to know what they're thinking ahead of time. If you sit here and you think, why is fucking coming to my house, and I just think one step ahead, I'm not being that intelligent with myself, and I can't even be in the room with people like Donald Trump and his cabinet. I can't. So for me to understand, to protect my people, I have to position myself in the seat next to these intelligent white human beings and tell myself, why would they do this tariff shit on Mexico if they know Mexico is going to do it to them? And then it's just, I have to say, no, wait a minute. There's got to be something else, right? So you got to dig deeper. So if you're not even thinking about the obvious, which is cartels are terrorists, and who the KKK give the drugs to? The little homies that just bang from, metaphorically speaking. So guess what that does? That makes every motherfucker that's in the street selling dope for them a fucking terror. Why do you think they opened up Guantanamo Bay? Just cuz? No, my boy. They already, this is their plan. And I don't blame them for this. But if I was Caucasian, and if you look at the founding fathers of how they believe that the rules were changed, when they said that you could be a citizen and still be deported, did you hear him say that?
That's crazy.
A born citizen doesn't give you the rights. It's how they're trying to make it. So there's an Article 14.
Well, then that means anybody can be. I mean, what if you don't have a land to be deported to?
They are trying to deport Native Americans. Guess where they're going to go? To where? Guantanamo Bay. Or to any other facility, because they don't have. And do you know why they're using that law? Because they're saying that if you're not from the United States and you were born somewhere else, which is the United States before it was the United States, you have an allegiance to that land. Well, if you go ask any Native American, is his allegiance to America or to the Black Mountains of the Sayu? He's going to tell you the Black Mountains were fucking sitting booze at, of course. Well, guess what? That means you're not an American. They're using these laws because what they want to do is they want to have a country that's full of nothing but people that they are the same to. They don't want Mexicans here. That's why they're trying to change the 14th Amendment. There's a line in the 14th Amendment that says something that states it's only for the blacks, is what they're saying. that the 14th Amendment of citizenship was only for the blacks. So that excludes every Mexican, including Chingo Bling, including Heel from American Cholo. That means everybody is illegal now. If they pass that, we're all fucked. What do I mean by that? They planned the mass deportation, did they or did they not? Mass deportation means...
Well, they already started that shit.
Right, but mass deportation in the 30s and in the 50s was by the millions. By the millions, carnal. So they were literally looking for anything Mexican, and if you were Mexican, you were going to jail on a bus and you were getting deported out of here. So if your mother was born here, if you were born here, if anybody was born here and both of their parents weren't born here, then you're not American. And how many generations do your people go back?
Here?
What's your mother's nationality?
My family's been here for like 4 or 5 generations. Deep.
Okay, and you have proof of that?
Yes. It's not on my dad's side.
You're from the very first colonies of California.
So look at on my mom's side, I'm from here. My mom's from here. Her mom's from here, and her mom's from here.
Okay, so unless...
But on my dad's side, my dad's from here. I'm from here.
Yeah, but your mom is from here.
My
so
grandma's
as long as your mother's from here, if one of your parents is from the United States of America and their parents is from the United States of America, that makes you a derivative citizen. That's where I sit. My grandma is... So my mother's mother is from Denver, Colorado, and her mother is from here.
Uh-huh.
They can't deport me. Not everybody has that in them.
Yeah, I get you.
When I tell you that my grandmother is looks white, she had colored eyes. So my bloodline is really it comes from white Spaniards or white from the Europe.
Yeah.
I haven't looked that deep because I can't find those people to communicate with. But my grandmother looked white. Matter of fact, I'll show you a picture before you leave. But my grandmother looks white and my grandfather looks black.
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about black. My grandfather comes from the tribe of the Huicholes. Is it the Huicholes of Michoacán? That tribe is one of the last tribes that exist in Mexico. Matter of fact, it's known as the tribe that uses the peyote as its religion.
Okay.
You could Google it and immediately it'll take you to the Huichol. So I got the bloodline of a fucking indigenous, dark-skinned, black-looking motherfucker, which is my grandpa, and my grandmother looks like a white woman. But I can't be deported here. But not a lot of us. We can't go back before the 1800s, carnal. There was no history. There's nothing to read, so we can't prove it, even if we wanted to. It goes back to the 1800s. It's when books started being written. So unless you have family from then, and there wasn't that many families. My family and your family come from where there was actually people living. This whole Texas and everything was abandoned. There was no people here.
Like nobody came here.
Nobody
they were just
came
already
here. That's
here.
why they took Texas from us.
Yeah.
When we fought in the Alamo, we didn't have an army here. So when they talk about they beat Mexico, you beat Mexico because Mexico wasn't here. It was down there in Mexico. They had to send troops to fight. And the first time we sent troops, we beat them at the Alamo. And then we lost in San Jacinto. I've read my history back and forth from everything that's happened from when it matters to where it ends. Gotcha. And what else was I going to tell you about? Oh, yeah. Did you know why we lost Mexico and Texas, Arizona, and all of that? Because of slavery.
What do you mean?
We lost Mexico because the white man came with slaves. And we told them they couldn't have slaves because abolished slavery. They didn't want to give up the slaves because that's their slaves. They make them build shit. They're their workers. So they said, no, we're not going to give up our slaves. So we lost our country, half of our country, because of black people, my brother. Please, I need everybody to understand this. And I'm not saying it to make them feel bad. Fuck no. I'm saying it so we understand how close we are, that we fought for them. So when we talk about all this black and brown bullshit, man, we literally lost our land for these black human beings. And the real grown-ups, black men and women that are older in their 60s, 70s of today, you ask any of them how they feel about Mexicans, they'll tell you. Those men gave their fucking land, their lives, everything to protect the black man.
Yeah.
The black, where do you think the Underground Railroad led to? Canada, they say, some of it, but there ain't black people in Canada. Go to Veracruz. You'll see a statue of a black man named Gaspar Yanga. They turned the whole city into his last name, which is Yanga. We really have no idea how deeply the black and Mexican roots go back to the Olmecs and the Mali of Africa. The continents were connected before it split up. If you grab Africa and you grab the United States and Mexico, you can put it together like a puzzle. What does that mean? That it was one land. So we all lived in the same continent.
Yeah.
Do you know the first Egyptian pharaohs, the first king of Egypt was of the Americas? There was two kingdoms, which was the Egyptian kingdom with the Africans and the brown Mesoamericans. That's why there's the only two pyramids that you really have that are significant are these two. And it was the black and the brown. And they married. There's the one of our queens from the Maya was buried in Egypt. Man, it's all connected. If we don't know our history, carnal, we're gonna think they're against us, and we're against them. If I was raised in a school where they told me, you do know that we fought for your country, right? I mean, for your freedom, and we helped you get your freedom. They would appreciate us, and we would appreciate them for what they did for us, because, oh, it doesn't just go one way. No, sir. How you think we beat the French?
Yeah.
With the fucking, the slave that ran away into the fucking mountains and hid with the Gaspar Yangas and all them tribes of black Africans that were hidden in the Mexico's fucking mountains. They came and helped us beat the French. That's how we got over our first fucking Maximiliano. We had a fucking emperor. Did you know Mexico had an emperor, carnal? Do you know what an emperor is? Have you ever heard of an emperor? That shit is in movies. Mexico had a president, emperor, president. We were conquered by 3 or 4 different European countries, and one of them, the way we beat them was because of the African. We got our country back. So we owed them that. Then we helped them when they were slaves. So all I'm saying is you asked me about Trump. Back to Trump, my boy. When I'm knowing all of this history, and it's all talking about nothing but blacks and browns, and then all of a sudden you got some white dude as the president of the United States running the country and land that we came from. Look, I don't have a problem with it, but don't kick me the fuck out. Don't kick me out, or at least kick. This is what I said in another podcast. I said, you want to kick me out? Give the black man their reparations, and I'll go back to Mexico with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all of us Mexicans will just say, fuck it. Give the black man their land, their 40 acres and a mule, and we'll all go back to fucking Mexico. Because I bet you, if we get this deal done, when we get back to Mexico, they'll give us 40 acres and a mule. If we give it up for our black brothers. Our brown brothers to greet us with that.
So I saw a video the other day, and it was ICE walking up to these Mexicans demanding to see their identification.
That's against the law. Unless you commit a crime, but go ahead.
Exactly. That's what I was about to get to. It's gotten ridiculous. How do you feel about that, bro? Like, it's not stop and identify. And they're trying to stop and identify, talking about, let me see your ID, but you don't have to unless you're, unless they have a, what is it called? Probable cause.
Do you know that, the first woman to ever be hung in the United States of America was Mexican?
Wow.
Her name was Josefa Segova, the first woman to be hung in America was Mexican. She was raped. She killed the person that raped her and got hung. Do you know that the first child to be hung was a Mexican boy named Antonio? Uh, Forgive me for forgetting his blessed name. His first name was Antonio. He was from Texas. He got hung because he supposedly disrespected a white man, a child. The first people that were hung were not blacks; they were Mexicans. And according to the numbers, there was over 9,000 black African Americans hung in the United States, and over 6,000 Mexican Americans and Mexican nationals. So
wow.
That's 6,000 and 9,000. Have you ever read in any history book that our people were hung?
Mm-mm.
So not only are you going to hang me, but you're going to delete the fucking history of it too?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. Why would I allow these people? They're not from here, my boy. See, I hear Gil from American Cholo say, you gotta wave the Mexican flag. They're not gonna listen to you. You have to wave the American flag. That American flag is not your friend. I understand you want to fit in and you want to make them like you. There's no time for that. Why? There was time for that when you had Republicans and Democrats running the show. But those aren't Republicans and Democrats, my brother. Those are nothing but billionaires. There's a difference.
Yeah, I feel you.
Now, how do I know it's billionaires and not? Have you ever seen any black dude running anything behind Donald Trump at his inauguration or at his cabinet at the Congress? Did you see any black man?
I don't think so.
There isn't. There isn't. And they just took the DEI or DIE from us, right? What is that? That means they had to let black people be firefighters, let black people fly jets, let black people do everything because they wanted to be more diverse. And now Trump came and said, no. Fuck that. It can't be just because he's black. He has to have the merits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Merits. Well, what does merits mean? Merits means that if you want to do anything in life, you have to have a piece of paper that gives you that merit. Because merit isn't it isn't my opinion. That's not merit. Merit means what college did you come from? That's going to be your merit.
Pretty much like your certifications and your qualifications.
That's your merit.
How do you qualify for it?
That's your merit.
Yeah.
Now, how many people do you know come from Yale that are Latinos?
From where?
Yale or Harvard or Princeton.
Personally, I don't know any.
Or Princeton or any school in the world. So you're going to tell me that there isn't that many jobs in the world because, again, I'm thinking in the future and robots are going to take so many jobs. And if you're not thinking about that, stop thinking about stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
But so merit, this is why they're doing it. They're fixing everything for the future. So do you think the person that graduated, like my son, thank God he graduated from UNLV, yes, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, which is a great school.
Mm-hmm.
But he graduated from business economics, right? Well, when he goes to get a job, it doesn't matter his merit. It matters what school he went to at that point, right? Because even if their grades are the same, their SATs are the same, what school did you go to?
And that matters?
That's what merit is. UNLV or Princeton. White or Mexican. If you think that a white billionaire that knows this guy's brother was in the same fraternity with him is gonna just say, oh, we'll just give it to the Mexican because he just makes me feel...
He's gonna choose his guy.
My brother. Yeah. Every motherfucking time.
Yeah.
So changing it back to merit is going backwards. We're not seeing it like that. We're saying, oh no, it needs to be about merit, because if I work harder than you, then I have to get your job, because that's not how working. Have you ever been hired because of how you work? No. Why? Because you're just filling out an application. Your application tells you your merit, not the way you work. Because if you were to put us up against any other race, who's going? Mexicans. We work the hardest, but we're also the brokest. Look at who gets paid the most by nationality. Has anybody watching ever done that? Go look.
It's gonna be the white guys for sure.
No, it's the Indian.
The Indian.
Chinese. The white man isn't until, I think he's 8th place in his own country.
Oh wow.
So how could you say that? Well, they might be able to stay, but I don't see them letting any black or Mexican or even Chinese, because of their connections, or I'm sorry,
but everybody
Asians.
came from somewhere though.
Everybody. They're not.
I mean, how do we know Trump's parents or grandparents were not from here?
They're Trump is German. Eli is German. You gotta know this, because
I thought Eli was African.
No, he was born in Africa, but his nationality as a human being is German.
Okay.
Right? So, peep this. You're Mexican, right? Mm-hmm. But you're born in the United States. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything in your house that resembles a Mexican flag? Mm-mm. Did your parents? Mm-mm. Do their parents? Do they have anything that has the culture of Mexico in your house?
Of Mexico?
Yes.
My family is more Chicano.
Right, but even Chicano, anything that like
my family is more lowriders.
The Virgin Mary.
Yes.
Does she have the Virgin Mary? That's a Mexican thing, right? It comes from Mexico. Mm. She presented herself in Mexico, so it's a Mexican thing that you have inside of your home. You don't think this German has the same thing in his house?
Probably, yes.
So they have a problem with us being from Mexico, but not them being from Germany. But they will never, ever, 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 ever show their pride of where they come from. But I don't know not one person that isn't proud to be Mexican. You might not say, oh, I'm not Mexican, I'm Chicano. Well, you're still saying you're half Mexican. Mm. Imagine saying you're just American.
Wait, what do you mean half Mexican?
Okay, would you ever say you're just American and you're gonna say you're not Chicano? Would you ever say that? That you're just American?
I am an American, I am Mexican, I am a Chicano.
But would you ever just say, no, I'm not Mexican and I'm not a Chicano, I'm just American?
No, because I'm Mexican-American.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Well, these people are saying they're just Americans. That's a lie. They're lying to you. That's just what they tell you because that's the political right thing to say. But everybody knows that you will never denounce your nationality because unless you're a real sellout. I don't think he is I don't want to be Honduras no more, but he's actually looking like that because what he's saying is he's American and he will never fly his Honduras flag. And that's what my problem is. If you believe that you're just an American, you're a lie because that's impossible. There's no such...
But what if he don't identify? Like, I don't identify with Mexico.
No, but you identify with Chicano.
Yes.
That's what you are. You can't be Mexican because the verbalization of understanding has concluded to you can't be Mexican because you don't live in Mexico. Mm-hmm. That's how we came up with the word Chicano. Yeah. If we dig a little deeper, it's because Mexicans don't like us from over here because they,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I know that. Yeah. So history, you have to know where it came from. So if they would have never been mad at us or called us sellouts, we would have never been Chicanos. True or false?
We would have been Mexican.
Always.
Yes, I get you. Hey, that's a good point. I like that.
I can't. I didn't. It's just the honest to God truth. Yeah, anything I say, sure. I believe it makes sense. It's not about me being right. It's about the truth, my boy. I can't. If you tell me something that you don't agree with me, please go against me. And teach me something, because I am nowhere near as intelligent as these white people sitting in these rooms that are trying to get rid of us. And the last thing I want is for the same thing to happen in the 30s and in the 50s. So, you know what they say, history repeats itself. And if we cannot hold on to our citizenship, your righteous born citizenship, because he wasn't born here, his mother wasn't born here, and they're citizens. Well, guess what? They're going to be one of the first ones to go. Mm-hmm. If you watch my video, you know they've both been incarcerated. That makes them felons. Uh-huh. If you're a felon in the United States, you cannot be a citizen. I don't give a fuck who you are unless you go through the process, you beat your case, and you get your citizenship back after you've been a felon. And even then, guess what? That makes you a citizen with a felony, which makes you the first ones to go. He doesn't understand that, obviously. He thinks he's protected because he's got a citizenship. They're telling you right in your face. President Trump said the 14th Amendment does not apply for nobody but the blacks. They already told him it's not going to apply for you. You're getting deported, but he's still sitting here with the American flag behind him, calling himself American Cholo, instead of understanding that they're going to get rid of us as soon as possible. And if you don't believe it, just pay attention to what's going to happen. And if you think he's just going to do a 360 or a 180 and just say, nah, I was just playing, I ain't going to take that. Man, he's got lawyers working 25 hours a day trying to get that law passed and change the 14th Amendment by a couple of words. And if he can convince the Supreme Court to change those couple of letters, we're done, cuz everybody's getting deported unless you're like me and you. And there ain't many of us. There isn't many of us.
You just took me to school right now, man.
I'm saying.
I love it. Unfortunately, this battery is dying right here.
That's right.
So we're going to have to get a number 2 of this, man.
We have to.
This is a great conversation. I love this.
I was supposed to have you on mine. It ain't going to be able to happen today, but maybe for part 2, you could come and get on this.
I'm out here all the time, bro. Next time I come out for part 2, I'll come out on yours and we'll continue this conversation because there's more that I want to tackle. I just run out of time. I got to get to Fremont right now.
My brother, we have to, because it is very important, and you're such a important piece of my way of communicating to the homies from the Double S. Just, you guys are one of the most important groups that I need to communicate with, because it is very important for us to start structuring ourselves as intelligent, righteous protectors of our people. Why? Because the blacks have them. If you go look on the news, they have black men that are dressed up like army fatigues, practicing, learning how to shoot, learning how to protect themselves, how to grow vegetables, how to survive in the wilderness. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
And that's not smart.
Hey, how about this? Next time, you tell me when you want me to come over here and I will come.
Okay.
Because you did this for me, I will come back, bro.
Okay.
And no problem at all. I'll just come. And you tell me when you're ready, and I'll take a trip over here. Like I said, I'm over here all the time, though.
And one message that I want to send out is to Jimmy Humilde. Well, actually 3. One message to Jimmy Humilde. Just know, my brother, that we've never met, but we do have close associates, so I will be trying to reach out. The other one is to Flor, the beautiful brown sister that fights for us every motherfucking day. She's doing a great job. I already reached out, but I haven't got a response from her. Hopefully I get a response back, because it is very important. And the third person would be a shout out. And I need you guys to not forget about Alex Enamorado. He is still incarcerated for protecting our hardworking Mexicans that were out in the streets. He's been incarcerated for over a year, going on a year and a half. And it seems like everybody's forgotten about
time, bro.
Cause he can you imagine how he would be right now if he was out in the streets? Why do you think they took him? Because he was the only one willing to go to jail for us. Mm-hmm. I know I'm willing to do that, and I don't give a fuck who's watching. ICE, Trump, your mama, your daddy. I don't. I know that's my job as a motherfucking protector of my brothers, my black, brown brothers and sisters. I have to go to jail. I used to tell my wife, if I don't get killed by the motherfucking government, I didn't do my job. However y'all want to take that shit, I don't give a fuck. It's better than dying for anything else. Better to die for your motherfucking people and for your motherfucking family. You have to, because now it's presented itself. There's an opportunity to do so. At least protect your motherfucking people and stop waving the American flag.
Hell yeah.
Come on, man.
Bad boy. Thank you, my boy. I appreciate you.
Thank you, fucker.
Much
I
love and
appreciate
respect.
you. Yes, sir. That's right.
They don't wanna see you